Let's start with a big question. As a sales rep, you've got a whole portfolio of incredible products, right? Advanced formulations, new technologies. But think about it for a second. What's the single most important product you actually offer your clients? The answer might surprise you. It's your expertise. That's your true value. Your knowledge is your greatest asset. And the bedrock of that expertise, the very thing that builds rock-solid trust with a farmer, is a deep, practical understanding of health and safety. This isn't just about checking a box for compliance, it's about genuine stewardship and total professionalism. So, to build that expertise, we first have to get a really clear picture of the risk. What exactly are we dealing with here? What are we trying to protect ourselves, our clients, and their employees from? Let's break down the hazards of handling pesticides. Okay, so there are four main highways a chemical can use to get into the human body. It can go through the skin, that's called dermal exposure. It can be ingested through the mouth, which is oral. You can breathe it in, that's respiratory or inhalation. And of course, it can get in through the eyes. Now, of all of these, the one we see most often by far for applicators is contact with the skin. Now, this is where it gets really eye-opening. Not all skin is the same when it comes to absorbing chemicals. Not even close. Let's use the forearm as our baseline, our 1x level of absorption. Look at this. The scalp absorbs chemicals almost 4 times faster. The ear canal, more than 5 times faster. And the genital area is off the charts, nearly 12 times faster. This visual just hammers home the point, doesn't it? Protecting your entire body isn't just a suggestion, it is absolutely non-negotiable. The effects of an exposure can show up in 2 very different ways. First, you have acute toxicity. Think of this like a lightning strike. It's from a single high-dose exposure, like a big splash or a spill. The symptoms usually hit fast and hard. On the other hand, you have chronic toxicity. This is more like a slow, steady drip. It's the result of repeated, low-level exposures over a long time, and the effects can be sneaky, developing over years. To make this really hit home, let's look at a common insecticide class, organophosphates. A mild poisoning might just look like a bad day, a headache, feeling tired, or nauseous. But it can ramp up. Moderate poisoning brings on things like trembling, confusion, and vomiting. And severe poisoning? Well, that's a life-or-death emergency. We're talking inability to breathe, muscle twitching you can't control, and passing out. Knowing these signs is absolutely critical. Okay, so we've defined the risk. Now, how do we fight back? How do we protect ourselves? It all starts with our first and most important line of defense, personal protective equipment, or as we all know it, PPE. This right here is the standard safety uniform. You've got your cotton overalls. They're just tougher and more protective than most synthetics. Unlined rubber gloves, usually nitrile or PVC, good old rubber boots, goggles or a face shield to protect your eyes, and this is the big one, a respirator, if the product label requires it. You have to remember, the label is the law. What it says goes. And let's be crystal clear about this. This is a rule with 0 wiggle room. PPE is worthless if it's been compromised. A tiny little tear in a glove or a crack in a face shield means it has failed. This is not a situation for duct tape. Any damaged gear must be replaced immediately. End of story. You know, safety doesn't end when you hang up your PPE for the day. It extends all the way to the chemical storeroom. And here is a number to burn into your brain. 1 meter. Why 1 meter? It's all about ventilation. You must always, always maintain a clear space of at least 1 meter between the top of your stacked products and the roof. This prevents dangerous heat buildup and lets the air circulate. All these pieces fit into a much bigger picture, something we call the stewardship life cycle. It's not just about one moment in time. It's a complete process that covers every single step, from the moment a product shows up on the farm all the way through application and final disposal. This life cycle is where your expertise as an advisor can really truly make a difference. Proper storage is the foundation. A chemical store absolutely has to be secure and locked up tight. It needs to be well ventilated, and it has to be completely inaccessible to kids, animals, or anyone who isn't supposed to be there. But maybe most importantly, it must be kept separate from any food, animal feed, or seed, and well away from any water sources to prevent a contamination disaster. So, the product's been applied, the job's done, right? Nope. Now we have to think about worker safety after the fact. And that's where the re-entry interval, or REI, comes in. Think of it as a mandatory waiting period. It's the legally required amount of time after an application before anyone can go back into that treated area without wearing full PPE. This info is right on the product label, and it needs to be clearly communicated to everyone on the farm. And what do you do when the container's empty? Proper disposal is a huge part of environmental stewardship. The industry standard is the triple rinse procedure. It's simple. You drain the container completely for 30 seconds. Then, you fill it about a quarter full with water, screw the cap on tight, and shake it like crazy. Then pour that rinse water or rinsate right into your spray tank. You do that 2 more times. And the last step is critical. You puncture the container so it can never, ever be reused for anything else. Look, even with the best training and the most careful practices, accidents can still happen. It's just a fact of life. And that's why every farm has to have a safety net, a clear practice plan for how to respond to emergencies, whether it's a poisoning or a chemical spill. In a poisoning incident, speed is everything. There are 4 things that need to happen immediately. 1. Get the person away from the source of the exposure. 2. Remove all of their contaminated clothing right away. 3. Wash the affected areas with soap and water. And if their eyes are involved, you need to flush them with clean water for at least 15 minutes straight. And 4, the most important step of all, call for medical help. Do not wait. For a chemical spill, the priorities are similar. People first, then containment. After you've provided any first aid and made sure everyone is a safe distance away, your mission is to stop that spill from spreading. Use something absorbent, like sand, soil, or even powdered lime, to build a barrier around it. Then you can carefully collect all the spilled material and the soil it contaminated into a labeled drum for proper disposal. You can't respond to a spill if you don't have the right tools ready to go. So every farm needs a dedicated, easy-to-find spill kit. What's in it? The basics. Extra sets of PPE, brooms and shovels, a stockpile of absorbent material like lime or sand, and some empty, open-top drums just waiting to collect the waste. Ultimately, it all comes back to this one simple truth. A safe farm is a profitable farm. The farmer's most valuable asset isn't the tractor or even the land. It's the people. It's their family, their workers, and their own health. So by making safety the absolute core of your expertise, you're not just selling a product anymore. You're providing the knowledge to protect that asset. The question is, how will you do it?